It is Friday, everybody. Welcome back to Murph's Boston Sports Talk. I am your host, James Murphy, aka Murph. How are you doing today on this chilly Friday morning? And quite frankly, it's been chilly this whole entire week. Boy, do I miss St. Martin's weather so much. But I'm not going to be talking about the honeymoon at all in this episode. We have so much stuff to dive into today. Yes, Red Sox baseball, the almost near four-way tie for the wild card. Yes, Patriots Bucs, as Julian Edelman's calling it, the GOAT Bowl. And also, we just have to talk about what this game means. Not just from a Patriots level, not just from a Tom Brady perspective or a Bill Belichick perspective. There is so much outside of the meaning, the personal, maybe emotional meaning behind this game. But this is a massive game for the Patriots. An absolute massive game for the Patriots. And on the other hand, it's a massive game for both Brady and Belichick alike. But before we dive into all of that, because we're going to sit here and talk a lot of football today, I do want to talk baseball. I do want to talk just Red Sox, Blue Jays, Mariners, Yankees. Like, what is going on in this wild card race? I haven't seen nothing like this in a long time. I really haven't. I know there was like a few years ago. I don't know if it was a few years ago or not. I forget when. There was like a tie for the wild card. Okay, so there was one in 2008. It was with the Rockies. I don't think it was the year they made it to the World Series though. It might have been like the year after, or maybe it was like the Diamondbacks in like 2009 or something like that. It was play at the plate or whatever, throw home, and he slides in safe to win the game, something like that. That's the one I'm kind of thinking of, where it was before the wild card expanded. But I thought there was another one more recently in the one game in wild card era, like early. Maybe it was like the first or second year that they had it. Anyways, we'll talk about that in a minute. But obviously, how are you doing today? Comment down below on YouTube if that's where you're listening, or reach out to me on social media. How have you been this past week? It's been cold. Have you been adjusting to this cold weather? Sweatshirts, hoodies, sweatpants, all of the warm bundling gear. I hate it so friggin' much. I just want tank tops and shorts. Oh, and it's not getting any better. It's not getting any better. It's what is it today going to be? Today's going to be high as 66. Tomorrow 72 and Sunday 77. That's going to feel like summer. That 77 is going to feel like 97 to me. Cause you know me, I'm a wimp when it comes to cold. I hate the cold, so all right. We got to dial in here. You got to boop 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 boop. Dial in here. We have the Boston Red Sox took 2 of 3 for the Baltimore Orioles. Now on Monday, I said that the Red Sox need to win the next 5 of 7 games down this stretch. They won 2 of 3 against the Orioles, which they probably should have swept them. But these next 3 games against the Nationals are absolutely critical. I've said this a bunch of times, and obviously through the course of the season, things change. That series against New York months ago at that time was the biggest series of the year. That series against the Rays a couple months ago at the time was the biggest series of the year. And at this time right now, this 3-game series, this 3-game weekend series to wrap up the season for the Boston Red Sox is beyond crucial. It's beyond vital. It is the biggest games series of the entire year for this team. The entire season. You lose all 3, you're done. You lose 2 of 3, chances are you're done. If you win 2 of 3, the chances are you should be able to squeak in, but I mean, you never know. Mariners could win the next 3 and now they're in. There's just so much riding on this series against the freaking Washington Nationals. The Montreal Expos, baby. You know I love those Montreal Expos. Oh, man. The Nationals are 65-94. They've been eliminated from the playoff picture. They're 24 games out of the second wildcard spot. Their run differential is -90. Their last 10, they're 4-6 on a 2-game losing streak. Beat their ass to the ground. Put them in the cellar and just uncork 10 runs each game, and give up one run in each game. If you are serious about being a playoff team, get the job done. Because if they don't, then this team is frauded. Now, I know at the first 3 months of the season, this team was super good. Yes, they were on pace for 100 wins. Potential World Series favorite for a long time. Then they do nothing at the trade deadline. Yes, Kyle Schwarber has turned out to be a very nice acquisition. He's a great bat, 30-plus home runs. He's hitting the ball fairly well. I get that. I understand that. And I love it. The Kyle Schwarber trade, I love it. I just wish it wasn't the only move that we made, or the only impactful move that we made. I wish we also brought in, hate to beat a dead horse, but Anthony Rizzo, or at least someone that actually plays first base and plays it very well, alongside Kyle Schwarber. Now, it's not the players' fault that, upper management didn't make any moves. I can't blame Xander Bogaerts for Chaim Bloom not making a trade for Anthony Rizzo. I can't blame JD Martinez for that. So I understand the players' frustration, in the middle of August when they really went on that terrible, terrible losing streak, where they just collapsed from first place. And they in and out of the wild card picture for a while. I can understand where those guys are coming from because they're human. And, they feel things. They're emotional. It's a long season. It's like, oh, man, we've been playing for 3.5 months and we couldn't get any reinforcements. And then the whole thing with COVID hits on top of that. And, those reinforcements could have been nice. Now you're bringing in Jose Iglesias and Jack Lopez and just Cutter Crawford, who's not ready to come up yet. So, everything in consideration. You take in the 0-3 start, getting swept by Baltimore to start the season. You take that hot run that they went on late April, May. You take the no acquisitions at the trade deadline besides Kyle Schwarber, who didn't play for 3 weeks. You take in COVID. You consider this. You consider that. The Chris Sale coming back from injury. You take everything in consideration, and it has now left you 89-70. And at the beginning of the season, if you said that the Red Sox were going to finish, let me just call it 90-72. Let's just call it 90-72 for now. Make a nice even number. I think a lot of people would have taken that. At the beginning of the season, the Red Sox over-under was 80.5. Or maybe it was 81.5. I forget. 80 or 81.5. Hammer the over, obviously. You hammer the over on that, and they are well over that. Right now, they're 7, 8 games over it. They could finish 8, 9, 10 games over it. But when you look at it from now, compared to where you were just a couple months ago, you're disappointed in this team. I'm not saying you specifically. I mean, myself included. But if you look further back, this team has succeeded. You look at last year where they were. They were the bottom of the league last year. So it's just you really got to take a lot of things into consideration here. If the Red Sox don't make the playoffs, I will be beyond pissed. I'll be beyond upset. It'll be a failure of a season because the Boston Red Sox should be in the playoffs every single year. That's just the kind of team that they are with the payroll that they have, the players on their roster. They should be in every single year. Now you look at a team like Toronto or Seattle. They're having great seasons this year. They're playoff contenders. They're on the cusp of making it to the playoffs. But they're not supposed to be in the playoffs year in and year out. They don't have that roster that should be in the playoffs every year. The Yankees, they have that roster that they should be in the playoffs every single year. That payroll. You look at a team like the Texas Rangers. If they got, just miraculously made the playoffs this year, right? As a wild card team. No one saw that coming. Everyone would think it's a great Cinderella story, and next year they could fall right back into the pit of despair of the American League West, and we'll never. And it's just like, okay. But if the New York Yankees were to fall to 59 and 100 this year, the world would basically feel like it's falling apart. Just because the Yankees are one of those teams that should be in the playoffs every single year. Like the Astros, obviously, past eight or so years, or actually no, maybe like 6 years, they feel like they should be in the playoffs every single year. Yankees, Red Sox are already covered. For a long time, Detroit was that team that should be in every single year, but they've kind of fallen off the cliff. The Dodgers, they're a team that should be in every single year, or at least it feels like it, right? The Braves, in the 90s, they were. In the 90s and like the early 2000s, they were in there every single year. And then when they started to suck, it was like, what the hell is going on? So there's a handful of teams that should be in the playoffs every single year, right? Yeah, 1 year you miss it. I get it. It's fine. It happens. But last year was that year for the Red Sox. And also 2014 and also 2012 were those years as well, where the Red Sox don't make the playoffs. Oh, and 2015 when they sucked. So I've had enough of those years that the Red Sox don't make the playoffs. I get it. They won in 2013. Then a couple years they sucked. Then they made it back in 2016 and 17. Then they eventually won in 18. They missed it in 19. They missed last year. I want consistency from this team. I have to admire the New York Yankees. They are a super consistent team. What is it, like 20-something years, 28 years with a winning record of at least 82 wins? That's so. I hate the Yankees. Trust me. I hate the Yankees. That's so admirable and respectable. I wish the Red Sox could have that consistency and that kind of success over almost 30 friggin' years. Things happen. Things, fall apart. Things change. I get it. But this year, if they do not make the playoffs this year, it is a 1,000% failure. It is a failure beyond belief. Now, I don't blame the players. It will be a 100% failure on upper management. They did not put the team necessary to go out and earn a wild card spot or at the time when the division was up for grabs. They didn't do it. They didn't do it. And you can't, if you want to blame the players for not swinging at that third strike or making a fielding error that cost us the game or throwing a pitch down the middle and they hit a grand slam, okay, I get that. Yeah, sure, whatever. But those first 3 months of the season, those first 3.5 months, they were on fire. The best team in the league. Like I said, a Super Bowl. Bro, are you serious? Super Bowl? World Series contender. For a long time, a World Series favorite. It's just, oh my God, it was so frustrating. And then, this team gets riddled with COVID. 15 players out with COVID, due to whether they had it, close contact, whatever. And they were still able to play fairly well. They were still able to win games, be competitive. It's not the players' fault. If you want to give them a small slice, I'll settle for 95% upper management, 5% players. Because at the end of the day, yes, the players do play the game. Players have to execute plays. They have to score runs. They have to pitch the ball. They have to field the ball, catch the ball, throw the ball, and run the bases. Okay, fine. Yes, I'll give you 5%. How about that? But Chaim Bloom not doing anything at the trade deadline when every other team, the Rays, the Astros, the White Sox, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Athletics, I think the Cleveland Indians even made a move at the deadline. I don't remember about the Mariners. I want to say they did, but I'm not too positive. All made friggin' moves. That's just the American League. The National League teams did too. The Giants, the Brewers, the Braves, the Dodgers, Cardinals, Reds, Phillies, Padres, even the Mets, who are not even in the playoffs anymore, all made moves. It's just, yes, Kyle Schwarber has turned out to be a nice piece, nice addition to this team. But he wasn't playing for the first 3 weeks after we got him because of an injury. So it's like if Kyle Schwarber was a second piece that you brought in alongside a whoever, now we're cooking with grease, bro. Like, now we're cooking with grease. Oh my God. It's frustrating. It's a little frustrating. And there is a path for the Red Sox to not just make the playoffs, but to also have that first wild card spot. And yes, the Yankees are currently 2 games up on the Red Sox. Well, I guess the Red Sox and the Mariners, because they're a virtual tie for the first wild card spot. So the Yankees are 91 and 68. Like I said, they're 2 games up. And they're playing the Tampa Bay Rays this weekend to wrap up the season. Now, the Tampa Bay Rays already have the best record in the American League. They will have home field throughout the playoffs for the American League side. And they have nothing to lose. But I forget what win total. I think it was like their 97th win, or maybe it was the 98th win, was a franchise record in wins in their 20. When was their first year? 90, 97? 98? I don't know, 20 plus years, right? Highest win total in 20 plus years. Now, keep in mind, when they first came into the Devil Rays, they sucked for like 10 years. They just were god-awful. Then they changed their name to the Tampa Bay Rays, changed the colors and everything. Makes it the World Series, gets smacked by the Phillies. So they are at a franchise-high win total with 98 wins heading into this weekend series. 3 games left. If this team wanted to shoot for 100 wins, it's on the table. Obviously, you want to rest your players, but you don't want them to get rusty. You want to play your players to get them, some last-minute reps. Especially against the Yankees, that wouldn't be a bad idea because, say the Yankees beat the Red Sox or the Mariners or whoever, maybe the Blue Jays sneak in, then they're going to be playing the Yankees. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe see some of their pitching. I don't think the Tampa Bay Rays will just throw this series away. I mean, I think there's a little bit there for them to fight for. Like I said, 100 wins. Get a look at Yankees pitching. Hell, you might even be able to, knock the Yankees out of the playoffs. And I'm sure they wouldn't mind doing that. So there's a little bit there for the Rays to fight for. But honestly, I also wouldn't be surprised if they just threw it away because they had nothing. Theoretically and realistically, they do have nothing to play for in terms of seeding, in terms of fighting for a playoff spot or whatever, home field, nothing to really fight for. It's just more pride. It's more for bragging rights. And honestly, who wouldn't want to see a nice crisp hundo in their win column? So that's what the Rays are fighting for. And obviously the Yankees are fighting for that first wild card spot. They're trying to stay in the picture. But if they get their asses handed to them, they could fall out. They could fall out of the playoff picture. I don't think it's likely. They have to lose all 3 games. And the Red Sox and the Mariners need to win all 3 games. And it's just like, okay, but look, here's the Blue Jays. They're only 1 game out. So the Yankees. So it's the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Mariners, and the Blue Jays that are all fighting for 2 wildcard spots. And there's an article I'm going to read in just a second. The Yankees are playing a 3-game series against Tampa in New York. The Red Sox are playing a 3-game series against the Nationals in D.C. The Mariners are playing a 3-game series against the Angels in Seattle. And the Toronto Blue Jays are playing a 3-game series against the Baltimore Orioles in Toronto. So everyone's friggin' home except the Red Sox, which kind of sucks. But those are the matchups. The Yankees could have an easy weekend series against the Rays, depending on how they want to approach it, or it could be an absolute bloodbath and difficult for them. Red Sox should have a 3-game sweep layup. Mariners playing against the Angels. The Angels 75 and 84. I mean, they got really nothing to play for, but they could probably try to, the Angels could probably try to win to get the Mariners ousted from the playoff picture, which I'm sure they would love to do. And then the Blue Jays are playing against the Orioles. Should be a 3-game layup for them, but you saw how they would be able to beat the Red Sox yesterday. And I'm sure the Orioles wouldn't mind, beating the Blue Jays so they don't get in. But do they want the Red Sox and the Yankees to get in when the Rays are already in? I don't know. So, very interesting slate of games across the league. Well, I don't want to say across the league, but at least an interesting slate of games here in the American League for the final series of the season. It is beyond interesting. It is beyond exciting, and I cannot wait to watch it. Now, let me go to that article where this is from forthewin.com, forthewin.usa.com. Here's how a possible bonkers four-way AL wildcard tiebreaker would play out, and that is possible. That is possible. Yankees lose, say they get swept. No, say they lose 2 of 3. The Red Sox win the same exact 2 of 3 games that the Yankees lost. Like they won the same days, they lost the same day. Mariners, same thing, win 2 of 3. And I believe the Blue Jays would have to win all 3 games. And it's all likely. It's all possible. Don't get me wrong. It could happen. I mean, what are the chances? I don't know. Who's it written by? I like to give credit where credit's due. Charles Curtis, and he released this yesterday at 9:09 a.m. That's right. As of Thursday morning, we have 4 teams in the American League within 1 game of the top 2 wildcard spots. Well, now I guess the Yankees are up 2 games, but it's still possible. The New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, the Seattle Mariners, and the Toronto Blue Jays are all jockeying to see who can make it to the postseason. But what if they all finish with the same exact record? Let's try to make this as simple as possible to explain what would happen. Let's start with what would break the tie in terms of which teams are playing host to others. That would be head-to-head winning percentage from the regular season, and in this case, it would be head-to-head stats of each team against the other 3. This is about to get confusing, so bear with me. Let's say the Red Sox have the best records against the other 3 teams. They get to choose their designation in the tiebreaker. They can choose to be Team A, B, or C. And here's why that's important. Team A gets home field for the tiebreaker game against Team B. Whoever wins that game goes on the virtual winner-takes-all wildcard contest. Correct. That team, let's say it's the Yankees, can choose to go on to the road to face the Red Sox in the tie-breaking game as Team B. A bad idea, of course, if that ends up happening. Or be Team C, which will then host Team D. The third best team will choose one of the final 2 spots. The winner of Team C and D go on to the wildcard contest against the victor in Team A or B. Okay. This is where it gets a little confusing. I'm already confused. I don't know about you, but I'm already confused. I mean, it makes sense, but it's just Team A, B, C. Oh, my God. Okay. The same process would play out as above. Everyone would pick their designation based on head-to-head record against the other 2 teams. Team A would host Team B, with the winner getting 1 wildcard spot. But Team C would host whoever loses the A versus B game, with the winner of the second game being the second wild card. So that begs the question for the second best team. Would you rather go on the road to face Team A and have the possibility of 2 games to get the wild card, or do you become Team C and get a day of rest? I know, but it's all very exciting and weird, and that's sports. Wow, was that complicated. That is so complicated. So you get to choose. I didn't think you get to choose. Like, say the Red Sox have the best head-to-head record against, say the 3 other teams. I thought that just by default would be Team A, because, usually Team A is, number 1, right? A, kind of meters 1. Interesting. Well, that was very confusing, and I did not read that before we got into it. But if you fully understood that, and that makes complete sense to you, please let me know in the comment section down below on YouTube, or if you're watching this on audio-only platforms, reach out to me on social media at Murph's Cardtown, any social media platform, and just break this down to me. Like I said, I get it, but I'm a little stupid, so I need baby words here. But that is going to be my Red Sox baseball wildcard segment for today's episode. On Monday, we will know the entire picture. Well, I don't want to say the entire picture because that may not be true. We will have a great idea of what we're cooking with in terms of the potential wildcard playoffs, any play-in, any win and you're in kind of games between Yankees, Red Sox, Mariners, or the Blue Jays. I mean, if the Yankees sweep the Rays, then there's nothing to fight for in terms of the first wildcard spot. If the Blue Jays lose all their games and the Red Sox and Mariners are still tied. Well, now we got a play-in game right there. So Monday, we will have a fantastic idea of what we're really working with, because right now, yes, the Yankees are number one, but theoretically, they could still fall off and not even make the playoffs. Same for the Red Sox and Mariners, obviously, because the Blue Jays are only one game out of the second wildcard spot. Ladies and gentlemen, this is baseball right here. This is why baseball is one of the best sports ever. I know a lot of people can't watch baseball, they can't get into it, but oh my goodness, this is what you live for. Game 163, game 164. Are we going to have a game 164 on our hands? Has that ever even happened? Game 163s have happened all the time. You know, two teams, tiebreaker, going for the wild card or the division, the loser gets the wild card. Happens all the time. I don't want to say all the time. Maybe like maybe twice every 10 years maybe. So I'm exaggerating big time. I've never seen a game 164 where teams have to play 2 extra regular season games to fight for a playoff spot. I kind of hope we see it. I really hope we see this insanity wrap up after this weekend. Wait, no. I don't want to see this insanity wrap up. I want to see this insanity get sorted out so we have a game 163 and 164. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, folks. That's going to do it for baseball. I know a lot of people don't like baseball. A lot of people love baseball. But a lot of people might be here, honestly, for Patriots and Bucs, right? I mean, let's be honest. Biggest game of the season for the Patriots right now. I mean, them being 1-2 on the brink of 1-3. Biggest game in terms of, history, possibly. I mean, Brady, a 20-year New England Patriot, coming back home to play against his former team, his former coach, and his former teammates. Now, this game would have little, I don't want to say little, but this game would be far less meaningful if it was in Tampa Bay. Be far less meaningful if this was in Tampa Bay. Yeah, it would still be nice. You know, here comes Belichick and, the Patriots trying to dethrone the championship Bucs and all that good stuff. But the fact that Brady has to go back to his original home, the original house that he built with Belichick, into Belichick's kingdom, into his arena, and have to defeat him, or at least, I guess, battle him, is something that is so juicy. Because a player going in a hostile environment is always talked about. A coach going in a hostile environment, not really talked about. No one really cares because they're not playing. They're just coaching. So Brady going back to the place that he knew and loved to play against the team he called his team for 20 years. That storyline, it just salivates in my mouth. Oh yeah. All right. What does this game mean? Pause. This game means obviously a lot. Do I really have to tell you what this game means? I mean, I kind of just gave you a little brief thing, but all right, let's talk about from the Patriots' perspective, because probably a lot of people, that's only what they care about. The New England Patriots are 1-2 right now. They are 1-2. They're on the brink of 1-3. A total disaster. They could go 2-2 and have the game of their life and beat this Bucs team, who is coming off a bad game themselves in Los Angeles. At the beginning of the season, I predicted the Patriots would be 3-0 at this point. 2-1 at worst. Boy, was I wrong. Was I wrong? Because I expected the Patriots to lose this game. I did. And I still do. But now that you're looking at 1-2, almost 1-3, you can't lose this game now. Not just because it's the Bucs and it's Brady and the defending Super Bowl champions. Take that away. It could be anybody. I could care less. This could be the Jets for all I care. This game is a must-win because you can't go 1-3. You can just the playoffs goodbye. You can the division and the wild card, just kiss it all goodbye. If you go 1-3. Yes, there's an extra wild card spot, which is nice, obviously. But I mean, the AFC has some good teams. I mean, the Bengals just won yesterday, so now they're 3-1. Yes, it's the Bengals, and they have a lot to prove, but still, 3-1 is 3-1. I'd rather be the Bengals right now with a 3-1 record than the Patriots with a 1-3 record. Like, am I right? So, Patriots need to win this game, and I can honestly see this game being one of two ways. One, Patriots have absolutely no freaking shot, and they just get absolutely torched 42-6. And it's just so uninteresting. And all they're talking about is Brady, 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 Brady. Beating his old team. Now he's beating all 32 teams in the league. Because he's only beaten all 31. He hasn't beaten all 32 yet. He hasn't beaten the Patriots yet. And he'll become the third quarterback ever to do so. Peyton Manning and Brett Favre, I believe. So, Drew Brees, too. Drew Brees, too. So he'll be the fourth quarterback. So that's going to be what they're going to be talking about, since halftime. Because halftime will probably be 21-3. And it'll just be an absolute shit show. Or, what I would like to see is that the Patriots, for some odd reason, make this a good game through like 3 quarters. Making you think that they have a shot. They're down by a touchdown. They got the ball, end of the third, start the fourth. You know what? They're marching, whatever. They may kick a field goal. But then they lose by 17. Come on. Would you be really surprised if that happens? Like, a lot of people think that the Patriots have a chance. And I'm not going to say they don't. Because you probably could find some ways that they do. I don't think it's possible. But it would just be so Hollywood-esque. It would be so New England Patriot-esque for them to be so close for so long and make you feel like that the Patriots are just on the brink of winning this game. They just need one turnover, one stop, one defensive stand to get the ball back and just capitalize with all that momentum that they have. Like I said, early fourth quarter, down by a touchdown. They kick a field goal, make it a 4-point game, and then they lose by like 17, 18 points. Like, I honestly could see that possibly happening. Like, it would be a close 18-point loss because of, them being potentially able to, punch it in to tie it early in the fourth quarter. But, like, that's what I feel is going to happen. It's going to make you feel the hope. You're going to feel the confidence and the emotion that, like, oh my God, Mac Jones is going to do it. He's going to do it. And then your heart just gets ripped out when Tom Brady finds Mike Evans over 60 yards in the middle of the field, getting tackled, and then running a screen pass to, like, Gronk, and and they just score in 3 plays. And then they just take they just pull your heart right out, and now you're down by 11. Like, people have to realize that could possibly happen, right? We've seen it before. Or, like I said, the first option is the Patriots just straight up lose 42-6. I think it's going to be one of 2 ways, and those are the only 2 ways. 42-6 blowout, or close early fourth quarter, thinking that you might be able to win it, and then you lose by 18. Oh, man. Jesus. So I do want to kind of, I'm not going to play the video or anything, but Tom Brady was asked about him potentially, knowing Mac Jones, watching any of his film, or, what is he seeing him and such like that. And when asked about Mac Jones, Brady says, quote, "I haven't seen him much at all," end quote. I don't blame him. Why do you want to see, the heir to your throne? Why do you want to watch him? I mean, you're not playing defense. You don't care what his tendencies are. That's for the defensive room. That's for the defensive coordinator to do with the defensive guys. I mean, how much film is Brady watching? Side note. How much film is Brady really watching on the Patriots defense? This dude watches film for probably 50 hours a week against his opponents. And I'm sure he's watching film against the Patriots too. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to discredit his work ethic and his hard work, but he knows the defense over there. And he knows most of the guys over there too. Yeah, Matthew Judon, Josh Uche, Kyle Duggar, they're all new guys that he hasn't played with. I know that. But J.C. Jackson, Devin McCourty, Chase Winovich, Dante Hightower, he knows those guys. So it's interesting for sure. I mean, I'm quite interested, but I mean, I'm not surprised that he hasn't seen Mac Jones play. I mean, who cares? Why does he care? It's not like the Bucs were going to draft a quarterback in the first round this past draft. So, and then I guess there's also like a thing where Brady has like a hoarse throat or whatever, and he's being tested for COVID. But yo, there is no way that Tom Brady does not play in this game. There is zero shot that he doesn't play in this game. Like, come on. You can't. If Tom Brady does not play in this game, I will be pissed. I'll be so pissed. He better come back negative. Or they better. I mean, no, I don't want to say that because I'm not trying to start something. But he just better come back negative because I ain't trying to deal with, a Tom Brady-less Bucs versus Patriots where the Bucs still friggin' win. I mean, if they're going to win, I'd rather Tom Brady beat us in all honesty. Ugh. Ugh. Oh my God, this game has caused me so much stress. And it's not just the fact it's, Brady versus Bill, Brady versus the Pats. Yes, all that, it does count for it, but it's like, Patriots can't go 1-3. They cannot go 1-3. Let's see. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. I was gonna read you something. Oh yes, Tom Brady. This is an article from ESPN written by Jenna Lane, and the headline is: Tom Brady says breakup with Bill Belichick, New England Patriots, was handled perfectly. Interesting. I'll tell you this: us fans say no. We say no to that. Anyways, let's read the article here. Tom Brady says his breakup 18 months ago with the New England Patriots was handled, quote, perfectly, and that, quote, things worked out the best for himself, his former team, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. His former team? That shit did not work out for his former team. I'll tell you that right now. 7-9 last year, 1-2 this year. Cam Newton last year, potentially Cam Newton again this year before he got cut. Hell no, it didn't work out perfectly for us. We made the playoffs last year with, say, Jarrett Stidham as the quarterback, showing a lot of promise. You lose in the wild card round. Then you have something to look forward to and build upon. But no, did not work out perfectly for his former team. Brady's comments came one day after Bill Belichick denied a passage in a soon-to-be-released book stating that the Patriots coach refused to meet with a star quarterback in person before Brady left New England to sign with the Buccaneers in March 2020. Yeah, I heard about that, by the way, that, Brady wanted to meet Bill and all that before he went in separate ways, and Bill was like, I'm busy or whatever. Okay, let's keep going. Quote, all those things are super personal, said Brady, who returns to Foxborough on Sunday night for the first time since his departure after 20 seasons. Quote, we had a great relationship. Everything was handled the right way. We handled everything as gracefully as we could. It was an amazing time. It was handled perfectly. I think everyone understood where we were at. The people involved in the situation, things worked out the best for all of us. Still questioning that. And she forgot an end quote there. We're all trying to do the best we can do now. That's what happens in life. You don't know where life is going to lead. I think the only thing I know how to do is give it all I can in every day, every moment, and the people who really bet on me. I want to do really well for them, the general manager and the head coach and the organization, with them coming into my life and saying, hey, we really want you here. It's been an amazing thing for me, end quote. On March 17th, 2020, after meeting with Robert Kraft at the Patriots owner's house, a meeting he described as emotional where tears were shed, Brady announced he was leaving the Patriots. Kraft later described the meeting as a, quote, really positive, loving moment. And he said, quote, loves Brady like a son, which we've heard that before. But such a moment never happened between Brady and Belichick, despite 20 years of history together that included winning 6 Super Bowls. In his book, quote, It Better Be Feared, which will be published October 12th, ESPN senior writer Seth Wickersham writes that Belichick insisted they conduct Brady's exit meeting over the phone. And Brady told a friend that it came that way was, quote, telling about how badly the duo's relationship had deteriorated over the years. Quote, no, that's not true, Belichick said Wednesday when asked if he declined to meet Brady prior to his departure. Quote, there are a few things about this book. It sounds like it's a lot of second, third, or fourth-hand comments. I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to focus on this game and try to prepare for the Bucs, end quote. When asked about Belichick, Brady said, quote, "He's a great coach. He has everyone prepared, does a great job. He was a great mentor for me for a long time. I really enjoyed my time in New England," end quote. Brady then quickly steered the discussion towards his current team, his focus all after a 34-24 loss to Los Angeles Rams, the Bucs' first defeat since November 29th, 2020, almost a year. Quote, this is from Brady, quote, "I'm super excited about what we got here. I've got a great group of coaches here, an amazing group of guys that still motivate me and inspire me to be the best I can for this team and this organization. I've just had a great last 18 months. It's been very fulfilling in a lot of different ways. I love my football experience here as well. My 20 years in New England was incredible. I learned a lot. Coming out here for a year and a half, I've learned a lot. So, ... I have nothing but incredible thoughts, memories, emotion towards the football experience I've had. That's obviously been the longest. I still have a lot of great friends there, but they know I want to kick their butts this week," end quote. I love that. Listen, I don't know Tom Brady personally. I don't know Belichick personally. I don't know Kraft personally, whatever. I have always been a proponent. That was it Bill, was it Brady? Bill, Brady, whatever. Excuse me, for the dynasty. I thought it was 50-50. I did. I really did. I thought it was 50-50. I wanted to believe that Belichick turned into this great coach, this great savvy coach, and Brady was this guy with a lot of raw potential, and he just needed the right coach or just the right system setting to really succeed. And you know what? After last year, I think it's Brady. I really do. And I just pulled it up because I was talking about my my friend John. Where is it? Where's the numbers? I need the numbers. Where are the numbers? Because I have some statistics to share with you. Bill Belichick, in his coaching career, without Tom Brady, this is going back to his days with the Cleveland Browns. This is going back to that Matt Castle year in 2008. Those 4 games with Garoppolo and Brissett that Brady was suspended. Any game Brady missed, or that he wasn't being coached, or that he wasn't coaching Tom Brady. Bill Belichick is 54-61. Yes, a lot of it's coming in the pre-Brady era, like I said, with the Cleveland Browns. But you have a full sample season with Matt Castle. You have 4 games with Garoppolo and Brissett. You have a full season with Cam Newton. 54-61. Meanwhile, Brady goes down to Tampa Bay, takes this. What was the Bucs record beforehand? Buccaneers record. What was it in 2019? What was it in 2019? They were, where the hell are they? 7-9. With Jameis Winston. That was his last year. And then Brady comes in and he makes them a 11-5 team. That is a 4-win difference, right? 4-win difference. The New England Patriots. Where's AFC? I need to go to the AFC. New England Patriots were 12-4 in Brady's last year. They were 12-4 in 2019. And in 2020, they fall. Come on, give me the AFC. To 7-9. Tom Brady is a 4.5 win difference. That is absolutely substantial in the NFL. A 4.5 game difference maker. That is a whole month. That is a whole quarter of the season. Obviously now with 17 games, it's a little less than a quarter. But whatever. You see what I'm saying? 4.5 game difference. WTF. It was Brady. I don't want to say it was Brady all along, because I mean that defense early in the Patriots, the beginning of the dynasty was really good. Brady was still up and coming, had some good weapons though, So I don't want to say it was all Brady all the time. I think it was probably maybe Bill for a little bit early on, and then, it became 50-50, and then maybe it tipped to Brady, then it tipped to Bill. I think it just kind of went back and forth, ultimately kind of evening around 50-50. That's what I thought, and that's what I want to believe in. But maybe as of recently, the past 7 years, obviously dating back to the Seahawks Super Bowl, dating back to the Falcons Super Bowl, dating back to the Eagles Super Bowl, the one that they lost, and then obviously the most recent one with the Rams Super Bowl. I want to say it was a lot of Brady, to be honest. Now, I know Brady didn't pick the ball off of the goal line in the Seahawks Super Bowl. I know that. But that was Brian Flores, I believe, threw Malcolm Butler in the second half. I don't know the game adjustments, entirely and whatnot, because they took Kyle Arrington out because he got torched. But that's where I believe this whole Brady versus Bill in terms of who was the king of the dynasty. Just my humble opinion about the matter. And the last thing I want to talk about really quickly is I want to run through the NFL as I like to do every week. And I wanted to give my predictions based off of those matchups. So last night we had the Bengals winning on a game-winning field goal against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Cincinnati on Thursday Night Football. So obviously can't talk about that game and predict that game. But I did pick the Bengals to win in my survival league because I don't see myself ever picking the Bengals again this year. And they had me biting my nails, I'll tell you that. I have no strikes so far, but I wasn't trying to get a first strike by the Jacksonville Jaguars beating the team I predicted. Like, if I'm going to get a strike, I want to get a strike because a team actually lost to a good team that just outplayed them. And the Jaguars were not that team. Anyways, Titans, Jets in the Meadowlands. Titans, obviously, not going to talk about it. Lions versus the Bears. I think the Bears have a bounce-back game. Lions are just so close to winning. They really are. I think the Bears have a better roster, and I think it's going to be Chicago that wins, whether it's Andy Dalton or Justin Fields. Would I be surprised if the Lions somehow pull this one out? No, but I don't think it's happening. Colts versus Dolphins. Colts look like ass this year. Dolphins have some promise, but ever since that Week 1 win against the Patriots, they're not looking too good. I want to give it to Indy. I'm going to give it to the Colts, obviously, because I think the Patriots will go 1-3, so I need the Dolphins to go 1-3 as well. Browns versus the Vikings. I think the Browns will win that game. I think the Browns are a superior team, but the Vikings have a lot of good pieces, obviously. If this game was in Cleveland, I would have a much better time picking the Browns, but all those games in Minnesota, I will still be picking the Browns, but I don't feel as confident doing so. Washington football team goes down to ATL to play against the Falcons. Football team needs a bounce-back game here. They need to get some wins together. Otherwise, they can kiss that division goodbye to the Cowboys. So I'm picking the football team to beat the Falcons down in ATL. Texans versus Bills. I'm going to pick the Bills. Giants versus the Saints in New Orleans. Actually, I don't know. Are they in New Orleans? I don't know where that game's going to be played technically. Let's see. I can click on tickets here. Is it in New Orleans? Is it in New Orleans? Oh, it is. Well, at least I can buy tickets for the Superdome here. So I guess it is in New Orleans. Oh, sweet. All right, good to see the Saints back in New Orleans. Oh, yes, I remember they were talking about that Patriots and Saints game, how like, oh, they've been traveling all over the country, da-da-da-da. It's good to be back for Week 4. Okay, I'm going to pick the Saints. Obviously, homecoming game. Everything that happened with Hurricane, was it Irma, I believe? Got to pick the Saints here. I think they got a little bit of juice this year. I really do. I think they have something cooking. Chiefs, Eagles. Chiefs are falling off the face of the earth, and people aren't talking about it. They are one botched punt by the Browns in Week 1 from being 0-3. Now, I don't think the Eagles will beat them. I think it'll be a very interesting matchup with Mahomes and Hurts. Could the Eagles be close late into the game, but the Chiefs still pull it out? Yes. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win. Panthers, Cowboys. This is a good game right here. This is a really, really good game here, and no one saw this coming. No one saw that the Panthers-Cowboys Week 4 game would be a good one. I think it has a lot of juice. Cowboys, good team. Panthers are a surprisingly 3-0 good team. Since it's in Dallas, I want to say the Cowboys, but I'm not going to be surprised if the Panthers pull it out. If the Panthers are able to win, that will show you that the Panthers have some good legitimacy for the remainder of the season. Because I said last week, I was like, yeah, I know this. I said on Monday, I know this team is 3-0, but give it 5-6 weeks in where your record starts to fluffen up a little bit. And if they can beat the Cowboys, they might have some legitimacy in the NFC South and just the NFC in general. Seahawks, 49ers in It's not even in San Francisco. It's like 2 hours from San Francisco, their stadium, Levi Stadium, whatever it's called now. I want to pick Seahawks. Something in my gut tells me maybe I'm hungry to go Seahawks. Do I have Russell Wilson as my quarterback in both my fantasy leagues? Yes. So am I biased? I try not to be. Because it's an unbiased and unscripted podcast. I've been saying that since day one for any new listeners. I'm going to go Seahawks here, but I don't feel confident. I don't feel comfortable with that pick, but I'm going to go Seahawks. Cardinals visit the Rams. 3-0 Cardinals. What are the Rams? 3-0 themselves. Big game here. This is going to be a do-or-die game for the Cardinals. They're going to show us how legitimate they are, similar to the Panthers. If the Cardinals can win this game, go to 4-0, beat the favorited Rams, a lot of people picking them to win the Super Bowl, myself included, then also show us the legitimacy of the Cardinals for the remainder of the season. If they lose and get torched and blown out, then maybe they're just fraudulent. But if they lose in a close battle, then that could still show the Cardinals playoff hopes. So I'm going to go Rams in this game, but I kind of want the Cardinals to win. But obviously, if I'm picking, I'm trying to pick, realistically and accurately as possible. I'm going to go Rams, but I do want the Cardinals to win. Steelers visit the Packers. I'm going to pick the Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers and that team is back in action. That Steelers team, Big Ben, is just falling apart and crumbling. Najee Harris will probably have a great day, and I just think the Packers are just too good offensively and defensively for the Steelers, who are trying to still figure themselves out. Ravens visit the Broncos. Interesting. Oh, wait, you know what? I'm so sorry. So I just got a notification on my phone, and it says Orioles partying like it's 2011. Baltimore social media team put on a trolling clinic after O's took 2 of 3 versus Red Sox, denting their playoff hopes. Early in the podcast, this episode, I said that the Red Sox won 2 of 3, and that they needed to win 5 of 6. They already have that loss. So I am terribly sorry. I know I'm backtracking big time, but I did not want to end this podcast and then just find out how wrong I was. Red Sox lost to the Orioles on Tuesday 4-2. Then they won on Wednesday 6-0, and then they lost 6-2 yesterday on Thursday. So I guess I already still talked about the Red Sox and their situation. I guess none of that changes. If they were able to win another one of those games, obviously it significantly improves it, but I'm not going to really backtrack, but I just want to make sure that I gave myself a stat correction there. Ravens, Broncos. This one's a thinker. Ravens got a lot of mojo going on. Broncos are 3-0. I'm going to pick the Ravens, but like the Cardinals and Panthers, if the Broncos can win this game, it could potentially show the legitimacy of them for this year, because the first month or so, bad teams win, good teams lose. You're still trying to figure yourselves out in the first 3-4 weeks, first month or so of the season. So we're just gonna have to wait and see the fate of the Broncos, the Cardinals, the Panthers. A lot of those teams you did not expect to be good, who are still undefeated. Let's see when they play against good competition and see how it transpires. And I think it's a big week for all three of those teams, the Panthers, Cardinals, and Broncos. I'm picking the Ravens to win, but I want the Broncos to win. So there's that. Buccaneers versus Patriots on Sunday Night Football. I'm picking the Buccaneers. Of course, I've already talked about this game a ton, but obviously I want the Patriots to win. Raiders visit Los Angeles Chargers for Monday Night Football. I like both teams. I really do like both teams. I like both teams so much. I'm going to go Chargers. I will not be surprised if the Raiders win. I will not be upset if the Raiders win. But I think Justin Herbert is a guy. I think he's a dude. I think he has a lot of potential to really take over this league and be a top potential here, top 5 quarterback in this league. I really, really do. I don't think that's far-fetched. Is it anytime soon? I don't know. But him moving those Chargers to 4-0, right? I just want to make sure they would be 4-0. They would be 3-1. Okay, so it's a big game for them because Raiders are 3-0. So I mean, it's a big game for the the Raiders too. I mean, can they move to 4-0 and just separate themselves from the Chiefs that much more? Or, the Chiefs win, Raiders lose, Chargers win, things kind of start to fall back into place a little bit. So big game all around for the Raiders, the Chargers, and of course the Chiefs. Broncos, like I mentioned, that AFC West has a lot of juice this year. So just to recap really quickly, Titans over the Jets, Bears over the Lions, Colts over the Dolphins, Browns over the Vikings, football team over the Falcons, Bills over the Texans, Saints over the Giants, Chiefs over the Eagles, Panthers beating the Cowboys, Seahawks beating the 49ers, Rams beating the Cardinals, Packers beating the Steelers, Ravens over Broncos, Patriots demolishing the Patriots, and the Chargers defeating the Raiders. That is my Week 4 slate prediction. I cannot wait to see how this week goes. It is a big week all across the league. Really, you could probably pick any matchup and find headlines to talk about. And I cannot wait for it. Patriots, Buccaneers, game of the year. Yes, game of the year. I'm telling you that now. It is the game of the year. If Brady only spent like 10 years or so in New England, won like 2 Super Bowls, no, it wouldn't be the game of the year. But 20 years, 6 Super Bowls, it's the game of the year until maybe like week 18. So, folks, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, that's going to do it for today's episode number 92 of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, and enjoying. I really appreciate every single one of you who supports not only the shop, but also the podcast as well. And speaking of the shop, the raffle was drawn last night. A video will be released on my YouTube channel, Murph's Cardtown Sports Shop, tomorrow for proof of who won. I won't say what the jersey is until the prize is acquired and picked up by the winner. So until then, hopefully before Monday, I'll be able to let you know who the jersey was, because I know a lot of you think it was this player or that player. I just been saying no, whether you guess it right or wrong. I just been saying no. So that is going to do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, and enjoying. Like I mentioned, if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you like this video if you enjoyed today's podcast episode. While you're down there, please hit that giant red subscribe button, as that would be much appreciated and a great way to show support. I'm almost at 50 subscribers. I know it's not a big number, but on a small channel trying to make a big impact, that would be really meaningful if I can get to 50 subscribers, because that's a huge step into a bigger, just a bigger impact and a bigger voice, right? It just mean a lot to me if I can get to 50, and I'm so close to it. And then also comment any comments, thoughts, questions, or anything you want to talk about that we talked about. Maybe you disagree with me about the playoff picture for baseball, or maybe you think the Patriots do have a shot. Just let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And also those listening on audio-only platforms as well. Reach out to me on social media at Murph's Cardtown. Reach out to me with your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to talk about, discuss, or debate as well. But that is going to do it for today's episode. I really hope you have a fantastic weekend. It's going to feel like summer with the weather being in the 70s. I can promise you that. And I cannot wait to get back here and record Monday's episode. We have so much to talk about. We really freaking do. Not just baseball, not just football, not just Patriots versus Bucs, but everything. Everything. All piled up. Is going to be a massive episode. It's going to be a big episode. That will be episode 93, and that'll be airing and recording on Monday. But between now and then, you guys know that I love you, and you know that I will always see you.